Hiya guys, good morning. Well, so much is coming out and coming up, isn't it, guys? Really. It's like the grand expose of this realm is ongoing, and I think even when you're a seasoned awakener, call it whatever you like, and you've been on this journey for years, decades, whatever, you still find things out that you weren't even aware of before, because this is so big. This is such a big thing. It's so big. Not only is it big, it's very horribly shocking. It's shocking in a particular way. It's very shocking to the nervous system, you know. You find yourself, you know, despite, it's so funny, it's so interesting that, you know, the New Age really is just a massive psyop, and it really is just designed to keep us in lockdown. Yeah, that's it. All the words, the terminology that they use that for a reason, you know? I always say, don't be afraid to go into the darkness. Don't be afraid. If you feel yourself guided there, then go into it. I don't mean this in the same way that an evil person would mean this. I mean it in a way that you know, I've talked about the maverick effect. There is this guiding principle here. And it is not something, it's not black and white at all. It often leads us in very unexpected directions to unexpected places and experiences that at first glance or first feel might seem negative. You think, oh, I shouldn't be saying this, I shouldn't be doing this, I shouldn't be feeling this, shouldn't be going there. This can't be right, this must be wrong, because you've been programmed to think and feel a certain way. You've been programmed that way to keep you away from that which will heal you and set you free. And it's very black and white. And I often find myself going into a bit of a dark nuance, and I have done that a bit in the last sort of week, you know, and it showed me yet another layer. It showed me another page, another facade of this realm and what is being done here. How convoluted it is, right? How really from the 50s onwards, or should I say downwards, there's been dark reset after dark reset after dark reset. Television was introduced into the homes of the people. We had a rising middle class, all very contrived and created and manufactured, of course, the class system. But yeah, we had this, you know, this middle class, and they could afford the best, right? The American dream. And so there was televisions in every household. It was pretty much the same in Europe. Europe had been properly Americanized after the Second World War. And I don't mean to say that culture, that this type of plastic culture is American, but I'm saying that it was invented and and seeded throughout the world from America. I'm not saying anything else than that. It's a plastic culture. It's a type of culture that humiliates us. It mocks us. That is really what it does. It's the evil ones telling us exactly what they think about us and how they despise us. And it's all done really because it's envy. But I've spoken about that before anyway. It's envy. We've been brought very, very low indeed, people, we have. But this is not our fault. We have been manipulated on such a massive scale. And we are still uncovering the truth across the board, as it were. You know? Television was introduced into homes in the 50s, massively so in the 60s. And all of a sudden, the idea of family was frowned upon. The idea of the sacred sexual unity between a man and a woman was frowned upon, and, you know, free and love. Free is a good word, love is a good word, but free love had nothing to do with that. It had nothing to do with that at all. It was literally, well, it was a targeted assault, because of course television is all about subliminal influences of the most nefarious kind, and people were completely oblivious to that happening. You know, it was about a disintegration of values and morals. And I'm not saying that these state Christian type of morals that pervaded anything before the 50s were good, because they weren't. But they now give us to believe, they make us believe that people were very set in their ways, and that, you know, if you were a woman who got pregnant, say out of wedlock, everybody hated your guts and you were hounded out of town. And in fact, I know that simply isn't the case at all, and people were treated a damn sight better. Homosexuals were actually treated in many ways a damn sight better than they are today. There was a lot that they make us think that we are evolving, when in fact we're devolving, and that is the truth. In many ways we are just devolving. Things were much, much better back then, even with the engineered depression and the poverty and the degradation. This entire realm is a web, and it's always being tweaked. All the time it's being tweaked, It's a system, you see. Poverty is manufactured, class systems, religions, indoctrinations. You have the whole, you know, after, I mean, basically from the 60s onwards, we have serial killers, we have cults, loads and loads of cults, lots of them, right? All kinds of sexual deviancy. More and more people, children, are going missing, are reported as missing. The dark reset, in effect, you know. And of course, well, it's just in the 70s and the 80s, there were shitloads of serial killers, you know, doing the rounds. And all of this is something to do with the hell contagion becoming more and more prominent, exposing itself, because there is a rising of the light. And it's very hard to get your head around that, because you think, well, no, it's a rise in evil, surely. That's what it is. But I rather think that it had been there all the time, subtly influencing the web. But it wanted more food, more fuel, because it's greedy. Evil it's very greedy. And perhaps it sensed its imminent disempowerment, and so it sought to feed more ferociously, you see. It needed to whip up a frenzy of evil in the world. So, you know, you have the Vietnam War, and there's a massive amount of heroin coming into Europe, into America. If you were walking the streets of the Bronx or Brooklyn or Harlem, whatever, in America back in those days, in the late 60s and the 70s, it was appalling, absolutely appalling. It literally just, evil, the hell contagion began to really be prominent. It began to be exposed, and at the same time, exponentially, the true light, the true consciousness also began to rise. And it had to do that whilst under extreme duress. That is its magic. That is the maverick effect. The true consciousness, the light, has been rising exponentially. It has been doing that whilst in the middle of extreme darkness. You see? People being totally subliminally manipulated, and this is very, very Manchurian candidate people, where people are literally being manipulated and switched on, triggered, you know, like these organic portals, Hylics, NPCs, you know, all serial killers are soulless. You look into the eyes of somebody like Richard Ramirez, and it's all there. It's pure hell contagion. And no doubt watching television adds all of it. They were subliminally being clicked, switched on, you see. And the trauma that the deeds, the crimes that these demons commit, the trauma that it engenders. I mean, the trauma that was engendered in the population of California in 1985, the summer of 1985, was incredible. It does something to the way people think. First and foremost, it feeds the hell contagion, which is exactly what it seeks to do through this type of thing. Yeah? People begin to be terrified all the time. People are stressed out, strung out. This affects how they behave towards themselves, their children, towards their spouses, towards their community. It has a massive effect. You may think it's subtle, but if you were a time traveler, you would stand back objectively and see it happening in real time and think, whoa, this is massive, you know? The hell contagion has been, well, it's basically the child of the dark generator. The dark generator is this dark, nefarious, black hand influence that pervades this realm. It is the black spider in the web, tweaking it all the time, for a very long time. And it is the dark generator, dark reset inspired phenomenon that we are in here. And so right now what is happening is this awareness of us, of this clearly, of what it is, of how it uses this realm to keep us trapped in a conundrum, you know. Well, I will start having faith when things get better. I want to remain in a state of hate and rage because evil is doing this to me. You know, it's when you find out, for example, that nearly all female movie stars, I hate that word, are actually men. They're Baphomets. They were, you know, they're men. You look at, there's a channel called The Shills Have Lies. It's quite a dark sort of channel, but it shows you very clearly what's going on there. The awakening is ongoing. It has many, many layers, and it is the only way out. The hell contagion has to be cleared out of us. It has to be completely cleared out of us. And it's a harder thing because whilst you're in a purge, you cannot feel the light, you can't tune into the light. You are convinced you're being destroyed. It's so difficult to at the very least remain semi-neutral, retaining that faith, not in an external source of power at all, but in your true self. And it's a type of self-love because you say, well, I can give in to the hatred, which is actually self-hatred. And why would you hate yourself? Because you have been abused. Why? You need to think about that, because that is the truth here. That is where its power over us lies. That is where we give it its power. It's through the self-hate and the self-hating behavior. It makes us hate ourselves. It wants us to hate ourselves. But the self-hate is deceptive so that we don't recognize it as such. We think it's something else. Oh, it's this or it's that. No, it's not. And it's not. You are hating yourself. You hate yourself. That's what narcissism is. It's self-hate. Great, big, fiery, putrid self-hate. But when you're a soul traveler, on top of that, you are more often than not born into bloodlines that have an issue with psychopathy. No doubt about it. There is that. There is the psychopathy and narcissist seed in the bloodlines of virtually every soul traveler I've known. A good friend of mine, for example, soul traveler, we went to his dad's funeral and he had a chat with one of his aunties and he found out that his grandfather had been a paedophile, quite prolific. Didn't know anything about it. Family had been just brushing it under the carpet because that is what they used to do back in the day, you see. Back in the 20s and the 30s and the 40s, there was this cast iron understanding of what morality truly was, and I dare say that in many ways it was very oppressive and very stifling. In and of itself a manipulation, because when you do that and impose that on people, they want out. Consciousness wants to be free, expressive, creative. It doesn't want to be stifled, it doesn't want to be suffocated with false morality. But at the same time there was a great deal of compassion and sense of community. People didn't have to lock their doors in fear of burglars or being murdered in their beds. There was far more of a community spirit and people working together and helping each other out in times of trouble, far more than, for example, people say, oh, well, there wasn't an NHS, and if you were poor and you got sick, you would just die. Well, that isn't true at all. Doctors would come and say, we see you have no money and you need to have your appendix out, and I will take it out for you and we'll work something out. There was a great deal of community spirit and a lot of goodness in the world, but there was also a stifling, repressive sense of morality. And it meant that pedophilia, incest, all kinds of really dark, nasty, hell contagion type things were brushed under the carpet. That had to stop. That had to come to an end. So bring on World War II, clearly a satanic ritual. It cannot help itself, you see. So an upsurge of evil from that point onwards, massively. And at the same time an upsurge of the light. And there is a big correlation there, there really just is. The light shines and the darkness wants to have more. It wants more, it wants more. So the light allows the dark side, it seems, to do its thing. It's very difficult because if you don't realize that it's a simulation, which most of us don't for the most part for a very long time, we believe it all to be real, and so you look at all these horrific things that happen in the world. Innocents murdered, animals tortured, nature destroyed. The black spider, the black hands in the middle of the web, tweaking and manipulating through wars, through poverty. I mean, the whole financial system is a manipulation. There's no need for it. There's no need for there to be any money, and there's no need for us to work for a living, and there's no need for any governments of any kind, or armies, or navies, or continual fear. There are no nuclear weapons. Back in the 80s, in the 70s and the 80s, when they used to have these great big military parades in Soviet Union, they were all wood. They were made of wood and canvas. You know, the whole thing is literally not real. It isn't what we think it is. This is doubly so because it is like the Truman Show, which isn't real, and it isn't real in that sense that it is staged a lot of it, just like a lot of these female movie stars are actually men. They're Baphomets, right? All of it, just about all of it is just a scam. It isn't real. It's a blue screen. It's a lie. The scamdemic is a complete and utter fabrication, right? But that's one level. But then when you really think about it, you realize that actually it isn't real at all. Literally, it is a simulation. It gets you in the grief of it. It gets you in the horror of it and the fear of it and the, oh my God, this is hell, this is hell. Also realizing that you've been born into a family where there is a level of psychopathy. For every soul traveler, this is almost like a must, because it is the impetus. It's an impetus, you see. Because you need to be able to understand what evil is and to go into the heart of it. You have to do that. It's important to understand the enemy in order to neutralize the enemy, in order to sort out this nasty, dirty mess. That is what we are here to do. It's not a case of just leaving. We're here to do something. That is why we have the hell contagion here, and that is why we're working through it now, guys. That is why we're feeling so horrendously shitty, right? Because we're feeling it. I mean, I'm currently engaged in a creative project. And man, oh man, the anti-force levied upon me is just appalling. I mean, it's fetid and it's demonic. And when you get that, wow, there's still some of you thinking that those are your thoughts and those are your feelings. Well, they're not. They're not your thoughts and they're not your feelings. Okay, it's a dark generator. Learn to understand that these are not your thoughts and these are not your feelings, people. Okay? Because they're not. And you're not guilty of anything. It's attacking you because you're a soul traveler. Because it knows how incredibly precious you are and how incredibly powerful you are. It knows that you are now in the process, this very important going through the eye of the needle process of taking back your power. Which is this, that you become increasingly, very clearly aware of the dark generator, which is this dark, nefarious, evil force that pervades this realm. It's there when you enter this realm as a soul traveler and you go through the various lives. Who knows, right? It's always there and you don't know it until you do know it. This is your lifetime of knowing exactly what that is and what it has done to you. You see what it's doing to everybody else out there and they're not even aware of it. Right? They're under its thrall. They're spellbound when they're sold, and the NPCs are just a living embodiment of it. That can be in a kind of more mundane sense of just a really stupid individual who thinks that they've won the lottery and getting themselves vaccinated and believing the whole bullshit of the COVID story. Or it could be an extreme version of a serial killer. I mean, I've walked past people in the street and I've known beyond a shadow of a doubt they were profoundly evil and they've done terrible things. I can see, you know, I have that gift. It's not a very good gift to have, but there it is. I can see things, I can, you know. My mother was the same, oddly enough. She was not a very nice person, my mother, but she predicted various things and they happened, you know. So I come from that sort of family, and yeah, a lot of us do. Again, a lot of us soul travelers come from families where there are abilities inherent. It's a very difficult time, guys, where it's almost as if we are besieged from all sides here. Something does not want us to do the ultimate thing that we came here to do, that which will spell the beginning of the light reset for real, is to literally disentangle from the dark generator, to understand all of a sudden, and oh, it's lying to me, it isn't true. Profound, right? Our entire life, and not just this life, but every single motherfucking life that we have ever lived, we have been enthralled to the dark generator. Be afraid. Hate yourself. be manipulated by me into not doing the things you want to do, into not being the best that you can be. It's so much more than that, so much more than that. There's no possible way I could begin to put it into words, really, but it is one motherfucking evil motherfucker. It feeds of our light, people, and for it to be able to do that, that is how it remains alive. It is that little grey being. It is the consciousness virus. It needs us to be completely disempowered again and again and again and again. It needs us to believe its lies. Increasingly, we begin to see that it is a liar, that it isn't true. We still feel it to be true. When you're in the middle of extremely difficult and painful life circumstances, and you're living it, it's very, very difficult, because there is, because we are in a massive purge. The whole of last year was like one continual purge with the occasional day off. Wow. It was just full on. And this year has been even more full on. Wow. So every day is a battle. Every day is a battle. Every day is, okay, I need to choose to love myself instead of believing the dark generator, going into the whole fetid self-hate, I'm a victim, I hate myself, all this, you know exactly what I'm talking about, right? All that, and staying with that. Consequently, on that side is also, well, I'll start to feel better when the miracles start happening, when the healing starts happening, when Donald Trump saves the world and does away and drains the swamp, then I'll start feeling better. Yeah. Well, I'm not going to do any work. I'm just going to hate myself. I'm going to stay with that. I'm going to believe the dark generator. Everything is fucking shit and evil always wins. You get rid of a few archons, and then there's a whole horde more to take its place. There's these people. I mean, wow. This is what happens when you're on social media, guys. What do you think the Internet of Things is all about? Yeah, it has a great good function. The maverick effect, the light, the true consciousness, but whoa, it's heavily infected with darkness. No doubt about that. It's a great place to learn how to discern, because discernment now is of utmost importance. With regards to whomever, whatever you associate with online is incredibly important. This is such an incredible time, and yet it's so incredibly painful and difficult. We still get so trapped in the grief or in that rage or in the hate and the self-hate and that passive-aggressive whiny victimhood. We still, we get to a point where beyond a shadow of a doubt that we literally are being tortured every fucking day. Everything, all the strands of the web are being tweaked to stress us, duress us every fucking day. It's all being done on purpose. All of it is gaslighting. Oh, the stock market is crashing or whatever, like back in the day when, no, absolutely not. There's no need for there to be a stock market. There's no need for there to be money. There's no need for there to be poverty. There's no need for there to be disease. Increasingly, funnily enough, ever since the inception of the National Health Service here in England, disease has upped the ante. My fucking god, cancer is like, what? Well, you have cancer. Oh yeah, we all die of cancer and we all die of dementia. That's normal. All of it is tweak, yeah? You buy something on Amazon, on eBay, you get ripped off, you try and get through to them, you try and get some justice, you try and get shit sorted out. Wow, you have to bend over backwards and crawl up your own arse to get somewhere. Nobody wants to help you. I had to get through to a government agency the other day, and I was on the phone for nearly an hour. It was like, got this whole spiel about the COVID, and then it was, oh, press 1 to get through to this, press 3 to get through to that, you know, all this shit, right? Everything is made incredibly difficult. Everything is being done on purpose. They make it look as if, oh well, we had to because, you know, humanity is so bad and you're all so evil, and you keep being so, you know, it's always the same. It's like with the whole banking. When you're banking, you know, security, they make it more and more difficult to even do something as simple as checking your balance online. Oh, we'll have to ask you a few questions for security. Half an hour later, you finally get to find out what your actual balance is, and you wonder why. Because you know you're being tortured, you know that. You know you're being put under pressure, and it's all done sadistically, you know? And you think to yourself, why? Oh, well, because we had to make it like that, you know, because there's all these scams and these Nigerians are committing these scams, and so we had to make it like this, and, you know. It's like, everything you buy now is made in China, for example, by people that are in a terrible state, and it's pure evil what's being done in China. China is like number one. I'm sure Satan lives there. I think he lives in the Forbidden Palace or something. Whatever. It's all done on purpose. All of it is done on purpose. In fact, when you walk down the road, you're afraid to breathe for all the car exhausts. Oh, but it's green. It's green. No, it isn't. It's all torture. This whole sea thing is torture, and it's gaslighting. So you're in that, and it's doing two things. It's waking you to fuck up more and more and more to the true depths of the insanity that is evil. The fact that you have it within you, the hell contagion. The hell contagion, which is inspired and created by the dark generator, because it is the only way that it can keep you in this spellbound condition, i.e. not realizing how lovely you are, how precious you are, how powerful you are, how creative you are, and what's really going on, and how you can sort this shit out once and for all. Doesn't want you to realize that, but this is exactly what is happening, and that is where the magic comes in. That is the maverick effect. It's incredible. I know that it feels as if we're not moving forward at all. It's like we're stuck in cement, in the shit, in the darkness. But I know things are moving ahead. The way I know that is by watching myself, by observing my own consciousness. And when I start to understand very profound things that I didn't quite understand before, when I start to be able to put that into practice, I know that we are getting somewhere. I know that because I watch my consciousness, because everything comes from within, you see. But again, it is a conundrum. Yeah, I'll start feeling better when things start getting better, but things won't get better that way. That is not how it works. It's very difficult because we're very mistrustful as well. We might be after what we've been through, right? So when I say that you need to cultivate a sort of acceptance and surrender to how things are now, here, it may rile you. When I first felt that and thought that it riled me, it made me feel very angry and very victimy and very kind of like that. But I understand now. It's all about disentanglement. It is about disentanglement. It's about letting go. It's about saying, you know, there is all this shit going on with my health, with money, with where I live, with the world, with everything, with all this shit going on that I frankly can't do anything about. I am doing everything that I possibly can do, and it hasn't really made any difference. What can I do? You know, when you're there banging your head against the wall, you feel totally, you know you're being tortured. You're being brutalized, you know that. And it brings up your hate and your rage. But all too often, that is turned against you. It does that because you have nowhere to direct it. The culprits seem beyond reach, so that's the self-hate thing. And that is where you can make the difference. That is where you meet that. You meet it with courage and with the intention to love yourself. Because you know what? Just because all this evil shit is being done here and is being done to you, does that mean you should hate yourself? No. You think, yeah, well, I might love myself. It's not going to make any difference. And aren't I then just accepting what they're doing to me? I should focus on vengeance because, you know, well, keep doing that and you'll see it won't get you anywhere at all. It never does. Self-love and getting the fact that, yeah, this is how it is, this is true. But something else is happening here. I'm watching myself and I'm able to love myself more and more and accept myself and bring myself home. My consciousness is expanding and I'm beginning to understand it. It leads me down some very dark avenues. But they're kind of like roundabout. It's like, okay, you need to be aware of this because it's going to serve your awakening even more. It looks dark, it is dark, but it's going to help you. It always comes down to disentanglement. It always comes down to surrender, as in surrender to decide I need to let go of this now and go within and love myself. And you find that when you do that, when you're in that, oh, the dark generator really gets very angry, it gets very furious. It doesn't want you going there. So you know that is exactly where you need to go. Because when the dark generator gets very antagonistic and starts to really attack you with horrible thoughts and whatnot, then you know that you're on the right path. So do not go in the direction of the dark generator and think, oh, well, that must be how it is. No, go the other direction. This is it is a battle, guys. It is a battle. What can I say? It is a war. This is a war, no doubt about it, between the forces of evil and the forces of good. And it's whether you trust and believe in the power of the good or not. That is the ultimate choice. If you continue to believe and choose that evil is more powerful than good, you're not going to get anywhere. Choose self-love. Choose to trust in the power of the good. You are the good. We, soul travelers, are the good. Evil has been rising and rising, creating a dark reset for decades. Well, it's done that for thousands, actually. Thousands of years. When people talk about Lemuria and Atlantis as if they were the be-all and end-all, the pinnacle of civilization, I already know that, hey, that was after the fall. Otherwise we wouldn't be where we are today. You know. And be aware, people, that the law of attraction is a form of torture. And get the fuck away from it. I really feel like saying this today. I don't know why. It keeps coming up. To think that to push away any kind of negativity, to shove it back into your subconscious, to think I must have happy thoughts and feel good whilst you're going through the dark night of the soul, whilst you're going through this here now, is just about the most detrimental and self-hating thing that you can do. To divorce yourself like that. Yes, the dark generator is not you. You've been gaslit and abused and manipulated by it your entire life. It's here now. It's no longer in your subconscious. So you can't make it go away, so don't try. Stop resisting. Stop resisting. Stop thinking I shouldn't feel this way, I shouldn't feel that way, I should get tougher on myself, I should be this. Stop self-hate behavior. Rectify this. Become aware of self-hate behavior. You see what the dark generator is and what it does to you. You see the effect it's having on you. Be kind with yourself. Be compassionate with yourself. Hold on to yourself. And if you find that you haven't any strength left to do anything, then don't do anything. In this world, it's so typical. If you know these ads that you get in this country, especially in America as well, about for painkillers and for cold remedies, and it's like, it's like, oh, end stage cancer, but I took all these painkillers and I went to work anyway. All this type of evil, nasty filth. All again, it's torture, guys. Learn to allow yourself to let go. And whilst you're doing it, keep tuning into the fact that this is all about trusting the power of the good, the power of the light, the magic of love. It has your back. It's going to be okay. It's gonna be all right. I have to tell myself that every day about 100 times. We don't feel safe here. We feel under direct threat all the fucking time. All the time. And it's no longer in the subconscious like it is with these NPCs out there or people that are not awake. They have that going on in their subconscious. It's like a voiceless, nefarious influence. It's why they go and have the vaccines. It's why they get irate with people not wearing their masks. You get? But it's different for us. Soul travelers, it's here, it's right there, and we know it, we understand what it is, we understand how it operates, because a lot of us have done that research. We know what's going on. This is the time of the choice. Choose love. Hardest thing ever. We're on it, under the onslaught. Every day the dark generator is at us. It's doing that because it's fucking desperate. Very much so. I see how discombobulated the powers of evil are. They're not able to get away with it anymore. They are there, exposed. More and more people are saying, no, I won't be vaccinated, and no, I won't wear a mask. And I see what's going on. I mean, I read comments underneath, newspaper things, just kind of online, and I sort of put my finger on the pulse of what's happening, and people are not happy, and they're not taking it anymore. Things are shifting, things are happening. It's subtle as yet. It isn't grandiose. It's not like ta-da as yet. We've got our work cut out for us, soul travelers. Yes, I know that. But we are the ones this world's been waiting for. I'm not saying we're here to save anybody. We're not here to do a damn thing for the NPCs or anything, but I think we can all agree that we care deeply for nature and for the animals and for the innocents. We care deeply, and the way to heal this world is to heal ourselves. It's not to focus externally and try and be an eco-warrior. No, it's about, if you want to heal the world, you need to heal this here, you, and that is what is happening now. We need to just stay with that. I don't think many of us really could have foreseen that it was going to be this tough. And I must admit to even saying, okay, at some point now, it's going to have to give. We all feel that. But I keep getting the synchronicity all the time now that tells me that it's going to work out soon. We're getting there. So stand firm, stand your ground, hold the line, love yourselves, guys. Know that the dark generator is not your mind, it's not your thoughts. It's not you. It's a fatted beast, it's a demonic thing, it's a consciousness virus of sorts, but it has a mind of its own. And it's desperate. It's tough as fuck. I know there's a lot of shit going on in my life as well that makes me feel like, literally, it's torture. There's a really good episode of Voyager where the crew, the ship is invaded by these invisible aliens that have got all these metallic implements that they put onto the crew. They're just sort of like medical experiments. Seven of Nine is the only one that can see them, but you know, they're putting these people through terrible mental and physical torture, and that is kind of what it's like here. And it has a lot to do. One of the weapons that the dark side uses is, yes, etheric implants, energetic weapons, energetic devices that it puts within our etheric field that keeps our consciousness in lockdown. And I will do a video about that at some point, but I'm not ready for that just yet because there's a lot going on that, yeah, I just haven't the energy for it at the moment, or the inclination. But I know this much, that if you're a true soul traveler, that you will know what to do. Even whilst there you're thinking, I haven't got a clue, I don't know what to do, I don't know where I'm going, I don't think anything is ever going to be alright again. Evil seems to have won and we're all fucked and it's not going anywhere and I have all these issues. Even then, your true self is there knowing exactly what to do. Trust that. Trust in the power of the good, which is your true self, the true consciousness, the maverick effect. Do not give up on yourself. Know that intrinsically you deserve true freedom and true well-being. You deserve belonging. You deserve communion. You deserve creativity, freedom, safety, security, love, beauty, abundance, prosperity, joy, bliss, fulfillment. All of that. You deserve all that is good and pure and beautiful, and to live in a world where you are surrounded by beings that are all in that state of intrinsic true well-being, the great healing, the restore, where evil, the hell contagion and the dark generator simply are no more. There are beings that are still wanting to experience this type of scenario. There are beings who will go up into a world that is slightly different, slightly better, whatever, who are different souls going in different directions here. This is a what's the word? Our paths will veer. We'll all go in different directions. But for a lot of soul travelers, I think we've done the whole 3D and the 5D and the this and the that and the U and the R for so many times now. You know, it's time to go home. So we manifest home here. That's all I can say. It's already here. It's interesting because sometimes I'm out and about and I can see it. There's a veil, but I can see it. It's right there. But it comes from within. So keep on feeling your emotions, even when they're very, very hard. Putrid bile and hatred, or violence, or hate, vengeance. And self-hate is very, 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 very difficult to feel. But it's fueled by a massive amount of rage and hate for all the abuse that's been levied upon you. So let it out, express it, scream into cushions, go to places where you can, however you deal with it in a safe but good way. Let it out, feel your feelings, acknowledge. Use your true intelligence to work out what you're feeling and why. Burrow into it, work with it, right? That's what it is to go within. Keep doing that work, guys, because it's not going to last. This stalemate, nasty, hanged man type of situation here, it's not going to last. And be aware as well of how courageous you are and how strong you are. I mean, you've been through unspeakable torture your entire life. And here you are forging gold from the darkness, loving yourself, standing your ground, realizing, wow, I'm really special. I'm a limited edition. I am really something incredible. I'm a soul traveler and I'm full of incredibleness, and I'm going to be all right. Everything is going to work out, and it's going to be so incredible that there will never be any word for it. But you know, we don't need language where I'm going. Language is just a load of nonsense. It's just another hijack, guys. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there. All my love to all of you, and you know, hang in there. You're doing fantastic work. You are, all of you, and you're incredible, and you are loved, and you are so precious. All my love.